So guys, as you could see, the update has begun in both the devices. The 6S is currently ahead of the 5S just by a bit. Hey guys, Everything Tech Pro here, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about, is it worth updating to iOS 10.3.2 from iOS 10.3.1. So the update came about a week before or 4 to 5 days before, and it's really not sure whether you should update your device. Will it decrease the performance of your iPhone, or it will improve the performance? So in this video we're going to be seeing this, and I'm going to be doing it in two devices, the iPhone 5S and the iPhone 6S. So first of all, I'm going to be showing the results on the iPhone 6S, and then I'm going to be switching my device to iPhone 5S. So now I'm going to be showing the Geekbench results. As you can see, the iPhone 6S with Apple A9 chip at 1.85 gigahertz with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So I performed the test and I got a score of 2465 single core and 4237 multi-core score. And these are the other details about the phone. Then when I went to Antutu benchmark testing, then I got a score of 116,493. Detailed scores include 3D score of 31,388, UX score of 39,490, CPU score of 36,673, and a RAM score of 8942. And this is the final score, 116,493. Next, the HTML benchmark test. Before I perform all the tests, I cleared the RAM and made the test, so most probably it will be fair. And in both the devices, I performed the test while plugging in my iPhone to the charger. And here in HTML test as well, you can see there is no other tab open. So you can see the test is being performed. And yes, you see a lot of new colors and themes now in the newer version of the Antutu benchmark test. And I got a score of 25,600 in my iPhone 6S, and the storage which was available with me before updating was 28.39 gigabytes. Next up, I went on and installed the update, and let's see what this update is all about. So majorly, the iOS 10.3.2 is completely about security. So it goes on and on and on. So I didn't read it completely, but with these images, what I can clearly see is Apple has patched many security issues that are present on the iOS 10.3.1. So many issues including kernel issues, notifications, like you could see the denial of service issue right there. So these issues were there. So I was right that if you are on the iOS 10.3.1, do stick. Don't go to the iOS 10.3.2 because you may see a jailbreak. So just skipping through all the content. So the update for the iPhone 6S is about 177 megabytes. And when you install the update, you have 28.44 gigabytes. So I'm going to be comparing later. So as you can see, now again I'm going to be running the Geekbench score here. I ran it, and you could see I got a score of 2457 single core and 4176 multi-core score. And these are again the details, the iOS 10.3.2 in iPhone 6S. Then unfortunately, I can clearly see that the Antutu benchmarks gave me a less score of 102,850. So these are the detailed scores: 3D score of 30,420, UX score of 32,699, CPU score of 31,064, and RAM score of 8,667. So these are the detailed scores, and comparing it with the previous iOS 10.3.1, you can see the score has gone down significantly by about maybe, yeah, you can see it's 116,000, it is just 102,000. So a big difference in the score. So Apple, I think, has compromised the performance while implementing the security, or it may be just normal. Maybe it's just a normal fluctuation which you get while you do the benchmark. The same goes with Antutu benchmark test. You have 2457 single core. It went down from 2465 to 2457. Not much of a difference. And multi-core score again went down from 4237 to 4176. So both of these benchmarks clearly states that performance is bit down. But I don't feel any difference in my device, like it's slowing down, nothing such as being observed by me till now. And again, the the Antutu benchmark, the HTML5 benchmark, I'm really sorry. So HTML benchmark now gave me a score of 26,765. Comparing to the previous thing, the HTML benchmark score has gone up by about 1,000. So it's a good sign that not everything gives a lower score. And then I'm going to be comparing the storage. So after updating, I have 28.39 as compared to the previous one. So both of them are same. I did not get any extra storage freed up from my device. And as you could see, the score before updating was just 60.3, and I got about 0.04 gigabyte freed up after I performed the update. So next up, I'm going to be switching my device to iPhone 5s, and let's see what or how iPhone 5s performed in this test. So let me switch over. Alright, I hope this should work without any troubles. And okay, let it work. Come on. Alright, yes guys, it's back. Okay, so iOS 10.3.2 in the iPhone 5s, and it took a lot of time to update as compared to the 6s. I could see the performance boost which 6s gets with the 2 gigabytes of RAM and the A9 chip. So again, running the Geekbench score before updating, it was 1250 single core, 2140 multi-core, and the iOS 10.3.1 on iPhone 5s with A7 at 1.3 gigahertz, and it's a dual core processor, and it has a 1 gigabyte of RAM. So the Antutu benchmark score before updating is 42,748, and you could see a big jump in the score in the 6s. Even the updated version of the 6s gives a huge difference in the Antutu benchmark scores. So a detailed score analysis, a 3D score of 12,260, UX score of 11,672, and a CPU score of 12,890, and a RAM score of 5926. A total score of 42,748. And again, the HTML test, again I closed all the tabs before I performed the test, and even in this phone I cleared up the RAM before performing each Antutu and Geekbench test. Again, the same graphics and animations, testing the CSS and the canvas test. So it gave me a score of 11,681. Now let's see if the update gives better result in the 5s or it again degrades the score like the iPhone 6s. So before updating, I was left with 4.27 gigabytes. It's a 16 gigabyte device compared to the 64 gigabyte in the iPhone 6s. And again, installing the iOS 10.3.2. After updating, I'm available with 4.68 gigabytes. So we'll do the comparison later on. Again, Geekbench score. So Geekbench gave me a score of 1014 single core, 1712 multi-core. And again, the iOS 10.3.2 and iPhone 5s, all the details. Then, okay, let's compare the memory first here now. After updating, I'm having 4.68 gigabytes, and before updating, I had 4.27. So in the 5s, luckily, I got much of a space, cleared up while I updated. As you can see, it shows, whereas the iOS version, iOS 10.3.1 here, 4.27. And iOS 10.3.2, 4.68. Then Antutu benchmarks gave me a score of 43,802. And okay, so now analyzing the Geekbench comparison. In the iOS 10.3.2, we have a single core score of 1014 and a multi-core score of 1712. So previously, the single core score was much higher in the iOS 10.3.1. From 1250, it just came down to 1014, and multi-core score has also significantly dropped from 2140 to 1712. I don't know whether it's a matter of concern that you should not update on the older devices, or I don't know. Let's check out the Antutu benchmark test and determine how is the performance. So Antutu benchmark gave me a score of 43,802 after updating, and before updating I guess it was 42,748. So it's a good news. You have a better score in the iOS 10.3.2 after updating. And next up is the HTML5 test. So the device gave me 12,800 after updating, and before updating I had 11,681. So again, the HTML scores and the Antutu benchmark scores are much better here in the iPhone 5s, and as compared to the Geekbench, which is really low. So that's it guys for the testing video here. And if you ask my opinion here, I would really say if you are on the iPhone 6s and above and you don't want to jailbreak your device, go ahead and do the update. And if you're on the smaller devices or the devices launched before, like the iPhone 5, 5s, then I don't know, maybe you should wait for the next update, because maybe the test in the Geekbench might not be appropriate, but it's your call. Anyway, if you update, it's not going to be something bad for your device, because there are lots of security patches which have been implemented in the iOS 10.3.2. So if you want to stay back, you can stay back in the 5s. But other devices like the 6, 6s, and 7, I recommend please do go for it, because it improves the security performance as well as it does not disturb the performance of the phone. That's it guys for this video. I'll see you up in the next video. Until next time, it's peace out.